The member from Summerside-South Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, a constituent of mine came to speak to me about unfairness of our current methods for dealing with carbon pricing revenues. He and his wife will not be eligible for free driver's licenses by 10 days, including the 5-month early renewal window. His focus was on fairness. How can it be fair to give back to some islanders and not to others? It was the previous government that brought in the backwards carbon pricing, and it is the current government that is refusing to rebate the funds back to islanders. I explained that the carbon pricing put in place by the previous government does nothing to encourage less driving. We have a sustainable transportation action plan that calls for driving less through carpooling, telecommuting, and active transportation, and yet we have a carbon pricing mechanism that does nothing to reward that behaviour. The Climate Leadership Act is pretty clear that the revenues may only be used to offer rebates to islanders and are not intended to be used for programs or funds, even a fund I support, like the Active Transportation Fund. Our law says that the revenues must be returned to islanders. Members of this government have been very vocal in the past that they do not trust government to return revenues from carbon pricing. Well, now you're in government, you are supporting withholding those revenues yourselves. Both my constituent and I believe the government should follow our law, best practices as exemplified by the Nobel Prize-winning economist, and common sense to help deal with both poverty and climate change by enacting a true carbon pricing method where the revenues are returned to the people. As evidenced in a recent presentation to the Special Committee on Climate Change, this is the lowest cost way to affect greenhouse gas reductions and will reward the vast majority of islanders with more than it costs them, particularly low-income households. And as my constituent points out, it's fair. We urge the government to allow carbon pricing to bring the benefits to islanders that they are legally entitled to, and to do it in a way that allows islanders to choose what to spend the revenues on. Let's put those dollars back in people's pockets, not governments. It's all about people.